Hi there. Welcome to our virtual candlelight ceremony to remember and honor those who are no longer with us. My name is Kelly. I'm an LPC associate at Luminary Counseling. If you found this video, I imagine you may have lost someone, whether it be a person or pet, who you loved very dearly. Grief can be one of the most painful and confusing experiences. And although everybody grieves differently, most people will agree that it's unlike anything else. It affects us physically, emotionally, cognitively, spiritually, socially. It transcends all logic to make us forget our keys 5 times a day or cry in the grocery store. And although grief is hard, we grieve because we love. During our time together in this video, I'm hoping that we can create some sacred space to allow our grief and our love to show up and exist just for 10 minutes. We often avoid our grief and push it down for a good reason. It's painful and it's inconvenient, but by giving yourself permission to feel your emotions today and remember your loved one, we can begin to process your grief and heal your grief. Before we begin our ceremony, there are some items that you'll need to grab. First, you will need 3 candles, and any candles lying around your house will do. Whether they're tea lights or bigger candles, it'll work. We also need a lighter, and then there are some optional but recommended items. So tissues could be helpful if you feel tearful. Maybe a glass of cold water can be really soothing and grounding. I definitely recommend grabbing a comfort item. So I've got a blanket here and then my cardigan, and both items make me feel really safe and comforted. And finally, I would recommend setting up an altar, so to speak. For me, that looks like some photos of my loved ones, some items that remind me of them. And I've also set up some plants and some rocks just to infuse a personal sense to it and a sacred sense to it. But really, everyone's altar is going to look different, and I invite you to take some time and be intentional and creative with it. So we can pause the video here and you can grab your items, and then whenever you're ready, come back and we can begin our ceremony. I am going to start our ceremony by reading part of one of my favorite poems by Mary Oliver, titled In Blackwater Woods. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this. The fires and the black river of loss whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do 3 things. To love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes, to let it go. To let it go. When we light our candles, we are honoring a tradition done throughout time and among many cultures. The purposes of lighting candles have spanned from providing a source of light to being a conduit with the divine or those who have died. Lighting a candle can be a symbolic act of setting an intention, of illuminating one's thoughts, wishes, fears, and sorrows, and a way to honor those we have loved and lost. When lighting a candle on your altar, you're invited to make an intention from the time the candle will be lit, to notice the thoughts and wishes you would like to illuminate, and to light your candle as a way to honor your loved one, your relationship with your loved one, and yourself and sense of loss. We will now begin by lighting our first candle. This candle honors our loved one. And as we're lighting this candle, bring to mind your loved one. Maybe think about how they looked, what their smile was like. Conjure up an image of them. we'll sit with these images for a bit. Whatever is coming to mind, know that it's okay. Try to just notice what's coming up without judgment. Every loved one, whether they be person or pet, has a variety of different traits, personalities. There are some wonderful aspects of these loved ones and some more complicated aspects of these loved ones. But regardless, they were whole the way that they were. And all of it is welcome here. We will now light our second candle. And this candle represents your relationship with your loved one. So as you're lighting this candle, bring to mind maybe a memory or two where you spent some time with your loved one. And again, we'll take some time just to notice the images and thoughts and emotions that come up. You may want to think about what they gave to you, what you gave to them, what it was like loving them, losing them, the strengths of your relationship, the more difficult parts of your relationship. Just allow it all to come up and be. And finally, we will light our third candle. And this candle represents you and your grief, your love, as we light this candle of self, check in with yourself. What has it been like to lose your loved one? What has your grief process been like? What has been hard? What has been not as hard? And take a moment to really look at your candles. What's it like to look at the candles and look at the altar? What comes up? Whenever you're ready, we will begin to blow out our candles. Blowing out candles is just as important of a ritual as lighting our candles. When the flame is blown out or goes out on its own, smoke rises through the air and has been said to take our offerings, wishes, thoughts, or intentions up into the universe. Therefore, when it's time to blow out your candle, or as the candle goes out, know that your intentions too have risen into the air and into the universe. We will do this slowly and in the same order we lit our candles. So first, we will blow out our candle that represents our loved one. This can be emotional as we're extinguishing this candle that honors our loved one, especially given that they're no longer with us. So as we exhale and blow out, envision yourself blowing out your grief and allowing your love to rise to meet them wherever they are. We honor your loved one. We'll now grab our second candle, and in the same way, we will blow out our grief and let our love rise as we extinguish the candle that represents our relationship. We honor your relationship. And finally, we will blow out our candle that represents ourselves. We honor you. And as the ceremony comes to a close, we will do a brief grounding exercise. So if you feel comfortable, find a really comfortable seat wherever you are. I encourage you to put your feet on the ground and notice the sensation of the ground making contact with your feet. Notice how the ground is coming up to support you in this moment. And if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. If not, maybe just gaze softly in front of you on a certain point and just check in with your body. What do you notice? Do you notice any tension, any tingling, any emotion living in certain areas of your body right now? It's all okay and allowed. Try not to judge. And what we're going to do is practice square breathing, which is a brief exercise where we inhale for a count of 4 through our nose, hold for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4 through our mouth, and hold for a count of 4. And we'll do this about 5 or 6 times to regulate our nervous system and slow down our breath. So bring your attention to your breath. Notice where you feel it the most, whether it's the sensation of your breath on your nostrils, or in the back of your throat, in your chest, and your belly. Just focus on that one thing right now, that one sensation. It's okay if thoughts and emotions come up. Try to refocus it back on that one sensation of your breath. Whenever you're ready, we can begin our breathing exercise. So we can inhale through our nose for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Again, inhale, hold, exhale, hold, inhale, Hold. Exhale. Hold. We'll keep going at your own rate. This last time, take as deep of a breath as you can. And exhale as big as you can. Let your breathing return to a normal rate and rhythm. Begin to tap into the sensation of your hands and your feet. Maybe wiggle them a little bit and come back to this space. I invite you to grab your comforting item. Hopefully you have that. Just to give yourself a little bit of comfort. I'm going to wrap my blanket around me. And to reorient myself to the space, I invite you to look around and notice something. Say in your head, like, I notice a painting. I notice a light switch. It helps to maybe look behind you, stimulate our vagus nerve, and tap into your senses a little bit. What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you taste? And what can you touch? And we'll end our ceremony today with a poem the same way we began. No other pain can compete with this, the way grief's grip wraps around your heart and twists, wrings, and rips. The structural integrity of your soul feels as though it collapses into tears, hurt compounded by conflict, reeling about needing intimacy or pushing away. The loss reaches its arms into the epicenter of your spirit, such that you may never vow to love anyone that much ever again. The height of your sadness reflects the depth of your connection. Herein lies the courage of humans, to love without the comfort of a guarantee. Herein lies the paradox of our condition, to need each other for survival, yet deprived of the promise we most desire. You need not smile through the tragedy or save others from your sorrow. You need not entertain. I believe they would want you to have compassion for yourself. Let yourself be loved, follow your heart, attend to your needs. When you can do no more than survive with shaking shoulders and trembling hands, you need remember only one thing. Don't forget to breathe. And with that, we want to thank you so much for taking the time not only to honor your loved one, but to honor yourself and your grief process today. Know that if you want extra support, we're here for you at Luminary Counseling. We're currently offering pet loss support groups and a young adult grief support group. We also have short-term grief counseling and more long-term psychotherapy. So don't hesitate to reach out if you want the extra support. We're here for you. And we wish you all the best on your journey. Take really good care.